In the bustling city of Chicago, with its roaring traffic, towering skyscrapers, and people always in a rush, there lived a man named Miles Jackson. Miles was a talented jazz saxophonist in his youth, once hailed as a rising star in the Chicago music scene. But over time, life took a difficult turn. Bad luck, a few poor choices, and the death of his wife led him into a downward spiral. He lost his gigs, his home, and eventually found himself playing music on street corners just to get by. Most people passed him without a glance, too caught up in their own lives. Miles didn't stop playing. Every morning he'd set up outside the Jackson Avenue subway station, wearing a faded old fedora and playing his weathered saxophone. His music, smooth, soulful, aching, echoed through the streets like a whisper from another time. One cold October morning, as Miles was playing a slow, haunting tune, a teenage girl named Leela stopped. She wasn't like the others rushing by. She stood there, her eyes closed, listening. When the song ended, she clapped softly and dropped a few crumpled dollars into his open sax case. "That was beautiful," she said. "Do you play here every day?" Miles smiled faintly. Every day, rain or shine, Lila began visiting Miles every morning on her way to school. She was quiet, observant, and always asked thoughtful questions about jazz and improvisation. She told him she played the piano, but she struggled with confidence. She didn't think she was good enough to perform publicly. "You play for everyone," she said. "Aren't you ever scared of messing up?" Miles chuckled. "Every time I blow a note. But music isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest." The two struck up an unlikely friendship. Miles started teaching her small lessons, scales, theory, and how to feel the music, not just read it. In return, Lila brought him coffee, new reeds for his saxophone, and warmth he hadn't known in years. One day, Lila approached Miles with a flyer in her hand. It was a local student showcase. "They're looking for performers. I want to play, but only if you'll play with me." Miles hesitated. He hadn't played on a stage in over 10 years. The thought of facing an audience again stirred all his old fears. But Leela looked up at him with such trust that he couldn't say no. So for the next few weeks, they practiced in the subway tunnels after the morning rush. Piano and sax, blending old soul with youthful energy. The city around them faded when they played. It was just music. The night of the showcase arrived. Lila, dressed simply in a black dress, stepped up to the piano with Miles beside her. The room was packed with students, parents, and strangers. When they played, the room fell silent. Their music spoke of struggle, hope, sorrow, and joy, all without a single word. When they finished, the crowd erupted in applause. Tears filled Leela's eyes. And in the back row, a man from a local music conservatory stood up and clapped louder than anyone. Afterward, he approached Miles. "You still have it," he said. "We'd like to offer you a place teaching in our youth jazz program." Miles blinked. "Me?" The man nodded. "You've already started. That girl up there, you brought her to life." Miles turned to look at Leela, who was beaming. That night, as he walked back to his usual subway corner, he didn't set up to play. Instead, he stood there, watching the people pass, feeling for the first time in a long time, not invisible. Moral of the story: sometimes the greatest impact we make is not in fame or fortune, but in helping someone else find their voice. Even when we feel forgotten, our gifts still matter and can light the way for someone else.